And for those of you intending to do the same, here is a quick snapshot. Umrah consists of 4 essential sections. Section number 1, changing into the Ihram garments before the miqat, performing 2 rakats of nafil prayer, making your niyyah as the miqat approaches, labbaik Allahumma umratan, and thereafter reciting the talbiyah frequently. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. Section number 2, it involves performing tawaf al-umrah of the Kaaba, followed by 2 rakats near Maqam Ibrahim, and then drinking from Zamzam water. Section number 3, it involves performing sa'i of Safa and Marwa. And then lastly, section number 4, shaving or shortening your hair. And then your umrah is complete. But like they say, it is easier said than done. Now let's go into the details. Section number 1, changing into Ihram. Before putting on Ihram garments, it is sunnah to take a shower. If it's not possible, getting wudu will suffice. Make sure that you put on your Ihram attire before crossing the designated miqat. Where you put on the Ihram garments depends upon your point of departure and your point of destination. For example, people, for those departing from Medina, their miqat is different from those people, for example, coming from the Jeddah direction. Then before crossing the miqat, you must remove any clothing you may still be wearing that violate the conditions of Ihram. For example, the stockings, the headwear like the capes, and the underwears. All these ones must be removed. For the women, they are not required to conform to specific dress code. They remain in their normal modest Islamic dress. The niyyah for Umrah should be made at the miqat or at least close to the miqat, so that you aren't restricted by the prohibitions for a very long time. You can make the intention for Umrah verbally or as well as internally. After making your niyyah, you must recite the talbiyah. Thereafter, you will be in the state of Ihram, and you must conform to all the prohibitions of Ihram. As you approach the Masjid al-Haram, access to the Kaaba depends upon the direction that you come from. Usually, authorities designate entrances which allow direct access to the Mataf area. It could be one of these entrances. It could be King Abdulaziz gate number 1. It could be gate number 79. It could be Babul Umrah, Babul Malik, or Babul Salam if possible. You will be guided by the authorities there. Once you have identified the gate, step through with your right foot and then recite the dua that we normally recite when we are entering the mosque. There are different types of duas. I believe you know one of them, Rabbi Ghfili Dunubi, Waftah li Abwab ar-Rahmatika, and several others. After entering the mosque, keep your gaze lowered until you reach the Mataf area. Mataf area is that area where the Kaaba is located. Upon seeing the Kaaba for the first time, say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Raise your hands and make dua with the most concentration and sincerity, as this is among those moments where prayers are answered. So that is section number 1. Section number 2 is tawaf. And here are the important things you must know before you start tawaf. It is obligatory. It is farad for you to have wudu. Men in Ihram are instructed to cover the left shoulder and expose the right shoulder. Women are not. Then tawaf comprises of 7 circuits around the Holy Kaaba. A tawaf starts at Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone, and ends at the same spot. To make it easy for pilgrims to identify the starting point, the Saudi government has installed a green light on the masjid wall directly opposite Hajar al-Aswad to see the starting point. When beginning the tawaf, one should kiss, should touch, or should salute Hajar al-Aswad. These 3 different options are dependent on the crowds. If you reach the Hajar al-Aswad, you have to place your hands on it, put your face there, and say, Bismillahi Wallahu Akbar, and kiss it lightly. Kiss it 3 times if you have the chance. If you are in a reaching distance but you are unable to kiss Hajar al-Aswad, touch it with your hands and kiss your hands. If it isn't possible to be there and also you are not in the reaching distance, you can perform a symbolic salute, istilam, from afar by directly facing the Hajar al-Aswad, then raising your hands up to your earlobes as you would do when starting Salah. Ensure that your palms are facing the Hajar al-Aswad as though your face and hands are actually on the Hajar al-Aswad, and then say Bismillah Wallahu Akbar. Then there you can start your circuit, and you can read along the way. You can read any dua that you really feel that you want. So as you complete the circuit, you will arrive at Rukunul Yaman. This is a corner preceding Hajar al-Aswad. If you manage to get close enough, touch Rukunul Yaman with your right hand or both hands and say Allahu Akbar. Recite this dua, and inshallah 70,000 angels will say Amin to it. You recite and say Allahumma inni as'alka al-afwa wal-afiya fi dunya wal-akhir. So that is as you approach Rukunul Yaman. Then between Rukunul Yaman and Hajar al-Aswad, you are supposed to recite this dua, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. You can recite it until you arrive at Hajar al-Aswad. Once you arrive at Hajar al-Aswad, you will have completed your first circuit, the starting point. So you can repeat the same cycle until you complete the 7 circuits. In the first 3 circuits, it is sunnah for men to practice walking briskly, walking fast. But you have to do this only if you are sure that you won't harm other people or you won't inconvenience other people. One should endeavor to recite as many supplications with humility and sincerity. You should supplicate in any language that you are conversant with. Tawaf can range from 1.4 kilometers up to 4 kilometers depending on the crowd and the lane in which it is performed. After completing the 7 circuits, you have to perform 2 rakats of salah, preferably in a position where Maqam Ibrahim is between you and the Kaaba. If it is not possible due to the overcrowding, it can be performed anywhere in Masjid al-Haram. It is sunnah to recite Surat al-Kafirun in the first rakah. Of course, you begin by reciting Surat al-Fatiha, then it can be followed by Surat al-Kafirun, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun. Then in the second rakah, it is sunnah to recite Surat al-Ikhlas, Qul huwallahu ahadun. And then you make sure that you make plenty of dua after completing this prayer. Maqam Ibrahim is an ancient stone upon which Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam stood while constructing the Kaaba. It is one of the stations where supplications are answered direct. Other riwayah also say that Maqam Ibrahim encompasses Arafat, Muzdalifah, and the Jamarat, which is stoned during Hajj. And this signifies the entirety of the Hajj rituals. Therefore, it is very important for you to pray at Maqam Ibrahim. Upon finishing that, after finishing Salah and making dua, you have to drink from Zamzam water. It is available around the tawaf area and from various water fountains and dispensers in Masjid al-Haram. When drinking the Zamzam water, it is desirable, mustahab, to stand and face the Kaaba and say Bismillah before drinking the water, and you say Alhamdulillah after drinking the water. You may recite the following dua after drinking the water. Allahumma inni as'alka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan wasi'a wa amala mutaqabbala wa shifa'an min kulli da'im. Then after finishing the water, there is a place called Multazam. It is the area between Hajar al-Aswad and the door of the Kaaba. It is an important place to ask for Allah the Almighty for forgiveness, istighfar. After you have finished drinking Zamzam water, you may proceed to Multazam, raise your hands above your head. If you can't reach the Multazam due to the crowds, you may face it and supplicate from a distance. There is no problem. And Allah knows best. Then there is also the Khatim. It is a crescent-shaped area before Rukunul Yaman. As you perform tawaf, you are able to see this place, a crescent-shaped area before Rukunul Yaman. Praying inside Khatim is considered equivalent to praying within the Kaaba itself. This is very important to note. During tawaf, you are not supposed to go through the Khatim. That circuit would be invalid. It is sunnah to do the symbolic salute of Hajar al-Aswad one last time and before proceeding to Sa'i. You can do a symbolic salute, Islam, anywhere else in the Masjid al-Haram as long as you are facing Hajar al-Aswad. So that is section 2 of Tawaf. Then section number 3 is Sa'i. It is sunnah to perform Sa'i immediately after Tawaf, although you may take a break if you feel tired after Tawaf. Sa'i can range from 2.7 kilometers to about 4 kilometers, and this is also dependent on the crowd. So ensure that you have got sufficient energy, sufficient vigor to complete the rites of Sa'i before you start. You have to start Sa'i at Safa and then you will finish at Marwa. It is a total of 7 laps. The distance from Safa to Marwa is considered 1 lap. Then from Marwa to Safa, it is considered a 2nd lap. Now, as you are approaching Safa, it is sunnah to recite the following ayah. Inna Safa wal Marwata min sha'airillah فمن حج البيت أو اعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يتوفع بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم. Then you should say Abda'u bima bada Allahu bih. I begin with what Allah has begun with. This should only be recited once before Sa'i and not at the start of each lap. Upon reaching the hill of Safa, face the direction of the Kaaba and raise your hands in supplication and say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, yuhyi wa yumit, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu, anjaza wa'dahu, wa naswara abdahu, wa hazama al-ahzaba wahdahu. After reciting this dua, you may recite your own supplications and proceed to Marwa. So between Safa and Marwa, you will encounter two sets of green lights. It is sunnah for men to run at a medium pace between these two lights, while women should continue normally. This point symbolizes the distance that Hajar ran in order to get to a higher ground. Throughout the journey, recite as many prayers and supplications of your choice as you can, and in any language of your choice. Upon reaching the hill of Marwa, face the direction of the Kaaba, raise your hands in supplication, and repeat the same supplication you recited at Safa. This completes one lap of Sa'i. Returning back to Safa is considered a second lap. Repeat this procedure until you have completed the 7 laps, at which point you should be at the hill of Marwa. You started at Safa, you should complete at Marwa. It is recommended that you make a final dua here and perform 2 rakats of Nafil Salah in Masjid al-Haram. As you leave Masjid al-Haram, step out with the left foot and recite the dua that we normally recite while stepping out of the mosque. So that is section 3 completed. Section number 4 are shaving or trimming your hair, halq or taqsir. After Sa'i, you must have your hair shaved, halq, or trimmed by at least an inch, taqsir, in order to leave the state of Ihram and complete your Umrah. It is more virtuous for a man to have his head shaved completely. Whereas for women, they only have their hair trimmed. You don't shave bald for the women. It is not recommended. Thereafter, you have come out of the state of Ihram. Then there are some questions that are normally asked. Can you perform tawaf without Ihram? Because we see some people are performing tawaf and they are not putting on Ihram. If you are performing tawaf as part of Hajj or Umrah, putting on the Ihram is mandatory. But if you are performing tawaf as a voluntary act of worship, then you are allowed to put on any modest clothing in Islam. However, in either cases, being in the state of ablution, having wudu, it is a must in either cases. There are different types of tawaf in Islam, and each tawaf has got a specific purpose of worship. There is tawaf al-qudum, tawaf al-umrah, tawaf al-wada, tawaf al-ziyara, tawaf al-nadr, tawaf al-tahiyya. And this is why it is essential to make niyyah, intention, at the beginning for the specific kind of tawaf that you are going to perform. Then another question that keeps coming, do Muslims worship Kaaba when they go for Umrah, when they go for Hajj? The answer is an emphatic no. The Kaaba is the spiritual center for the believers, and tawaf is to recognize and embrace the fact that a believer's life revolves around remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not to mention the scientific fact that the balance of everything in the universe depends upon revolution, which is tawaf in Arabic. Look at the solar system. It does tawaf around the center of the galaxy. The planets do tawaf around the sun. The moon does tawaf around the earth. The atom, which is the smallest element in the universe, does tawaf around the nucleus. The entire universal system is in sync with the tawaf. Recent modern science has stated that tawaf mirrors the natural order seen across the universe, counterclockwise movement in the universe that never stops. Then there are also questions like, why is it 7 circuits of tawaf? Why is it 7 laps of sa'i? Why is it 7 stones of jamarat? This doesn't happen by chance, but it is in sync with the laws of creation and consistent with biological sciences. You can ask them, why do we have 7 days of a week? Why do we have 7 heavens and 7 earths? We have 7 ayats of Surah Al-Fatiha, and Allah knows best. So, brothers and sisters, this is an invitation to all of you with the means. The doors of Umrah are always open. This is a call from your Creator. Will you respond? During Hajj and Umrah, everybody dons the same garments, perform similar rituals, and speak the same words, regardless of their social status, regardless of their race, and they surrender to Allah. And you know why. This is a call from your Creator. Will you respond? Dua.